2023 is finally here, and so I decided I would do a video ranking my top 10 most anticipated movies that are currently supposed to release in 2023. Of course, some of these might get delayed, it's very possible, but they are currently said to be coming out in 2023. I would like to give a disclaimer that when I do these lists, they usually do end up being mainly franchise movies, because franchise movies usually are the ones that are announced way ahead of when they're actually going to release. Obviously, we don't know every single movie that is going to be releasing this year, so it's impossible for me to give a complete list taking into account literally everything that's going to come out this year. It's mainly going to be franchise movies and a couple of movies that are releasing within the next couple months, because those are the ones that currently are announced. Starting off with some honorable mentions, I have 3 honorable mentions to go over. First one is going to be Megan. Now, Megan actually comes out in just a few days. I will be doing a review for that film. I'm going to see it in theaters first day it comes out. I'm very excited for it, but I don't really expect it to be that good. It kind of looks like one of those horror movies that's going to end up being terrible, but I think it's going to be one of those it's so bad it's good, so I'm kind of excited just because of that. I think if it was R-rated, it would actually have some potential to be really good, but I just don't see how a killer doll movie is going to work with a PG-13 rating. One of the most exciting things about going to a movie like this is to see the kills. You know, Child's Play, those movies, I always love seeing how creative their kills can be. But when it's PG-13, all the kills are going to be off screen. They're going to be some, you know, someone throws something at someone, blood splats up, but you don't really see much of the blood. You're never going to see the body. It's just, I feel like they're going to hide a lot of it, but I still think it's going to be a fun movie. So with that being said, I'm still excited for it. Also, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I think that's the title for it. It's the new Spider-Verse movie. I'm looking forward to it. I like the first one quite a bit, but I'm not like that excited for it like I feel like a lot of other people are. Maybe it's just because I don't tend to like animation as much as live action films in general. I do enjoy some, but I'm just not as excited for a movie that's animated compared to movies that are live action. That's just how I've always been. But I love Spider-Man, so of course I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be really cool to see all the different versions of Spider-Man that they have in this film. And lastly, Extraction 2. So the first Extraction came out in 2020. It was my favorite movie of that year, and it's one of my favorite action movies ever. It's a really well-directed film, and I believe the next one's supposed to come out this year. It's starring Chris Hemsworth. I don't know though, it could be delayed to 2024. It's very possible, so I'm just gonna include it here. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just not like that excited compared to my top 10. In the number 10 spot, I have Blue Beetle. Now this is going to be directed by Angel Manuel Soto. Never heard of this director before, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he's able to do with this. And the reason I'm so excited for this is because it's a new hero I don't know that much about. I haven't read any Blue Beetle comics. I've never really seen Blue Beetle in any animated shows or films or anything like that. But I have played as him in one of the DC games, so I have a little bit of knowledge there, but nothing too crazy. But even just from the little bits of behind the scenes footage we've seen, it looks like they know what they're doing with this. There's a really incredible suit. Like, I just love the blue look. I'm not sure how comic accurate it is or anything like that, but it looks really, really clean. And from what I know, it sounds like this is going to be like the Spider-Man of the DC universe. And it's very possible this could be the first official movie in the brand new DC universe. It could be in the old universe, which would be kind of dumb because they can easily work this film around to fit into the new universe, I'm sure, unless there's really big ties to other things in the previous DC extended universe. But I think they could definitely find a way to work this into the new universe. Even if it's not part of the new universe, I'm still really looking forward to it. I think it has potential to be a really solid DC film. But yeah, the plot synopsis currently just reads: a Mexican teenager finds an alien beetle that gives him superpowered armor. That's all it says. That sounds exciting. Blue Beetle is releasing in August of this year. Coming number 9 spot is going to be 65. So the first trailer for this only released a couple weeks ago, and that's when I first learned about it. And right from that trailer, I was just hooked completely. It is the exact type of movie I always tend to love. It looks like a mix of Aliens, Terminator, Jurassic Park, The Tomorrow War, just all put into this insanely awesome looking action sci-fi film starring Adam Driver, which I love Adam Driver, so that's going to be really cool. So the plot synopsis of this film seems to be that a catastrophic crash will happen on an unknown planet, and this pilot, his name's Mills, will discover that he's stranded on Earth, but 65 million years ago. So it is completely back in the past, and he discovers dinosaurs in this world. And he has all this futuristic technology, but he's fighting prehistoric creatures such as dinosaurs. Like, you can't tell me that doesn't sound like an amazing concept. We've seen movies like this before. There's been tons of time travel, sci-fi movies like this, but the way this looks, it looks so great. I don't know. I'm just really excited for it. I'm going to show some clips in this video just to give you guys an idea as to what it looks like. From the writers of the A Quiet Place films as well, which the Quiet Place films I absolutely love, so that's really exciting to hear. The directors of this, Scott Beck and Brian Woods, I'm not really too familiar with them, but they did work on the A Quiet Place films in some way, so that's good to know. And apparently the composer of this film is going to be Danny Elfman, and I absolutely love Danny Elfman as a composer. So this movie, I'm definitely going to be there day one in March of this year. Really looking forward to it. In number 8 spots, I have Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. So this comes out in July, and Christopher Nolan is without a doubt my favorite director of all time. I haven't even seen all his movies yet. I definitely plan on doing that, but from the movies I have seen from him, they're perfect. I don't think a single one of them is anything less than incredible. So I have no reason to doubt this film. The only thing is, it would be a lot higher if it was a sci-fi thriller in the same vein as like Inception or Interstellar, because those are definitely the type of Christopher Nolan films I prefer. This one, it seems to just be a period piece of physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, and very interested to see the story. It's based on a real story, of course, but obviously I would have preferred something like, it's like I said, in the same vein as Inception or Interstellar. But regardless, his directing is incredible, so I completely expect this to be an incredible film. It's literally just all about this person played by Cillian Murphy, and Cillian Murphy is one of my favorite actors, so definitely looking forward to seeing that. And it's basically just about the creation of the atomic bomb. Don't really know what they're going to do with it though. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work, what parts of the story they're going to be telling, but like I said, it's Christopher Nolan, so how can I not be excited for this? The cast is insanely huge too. There are so many just high name actors in here. You have Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., like I said, Cillian Murphy, Gary Oldman, and much more. It is one of the most packed casts. I think Florence Pugh's in it as well. It's just the most packed cast I've seen for a film in a long time. In number 7 spots, I have Scream 6. So keep in mind, this is not a list of which movies I think are going to be the best movies of next year. It's just the ones I'm most excited for. So although I have Scream above Oppenheimer, I'm fully expecting Oppenheimer to be a better film. I'm expecting Oppenheimer to be probably one of the best films of the next year, but I'm just not as excited for it as I am for some of the rest of the movies on this list. So 7th spot is going to be Scream. And of course, this is just a follow-up to the Scream that came out just last year, which I did enjoy. I didn't think it was amazing or anything, but I thought it was pretty good. It was a solid Scream film. And this one is going to be taking place in New York. So the premise of this film, the synopsis basically just reads that sisters Samantha and Tara Carpenter and the twins of Chad and Mindy Meeks leave Woodsboro behind, and they start a new chapter of their lives in New York City. And it seems like there's going to be more murders involving Ghostface. Now, I'm not sure what the actual direction is going to be of the film. Otherwise, I'm not sure if they're going to have the same premise we've always had with there's 1 or 2 killers and they start killing people and we have to find who it is. I kind of hope they go in a different direction with this, and there's a couple of people who have had this theory just based on the trailer. What if it's going to be a cult of ghost faces? Now that might sound ridiculous to some people, that might sound so stupid, like no, we always do 1 or 2, that's fine, but we've done that so many times. I kind of want them to just up the stakes a bit and just make it go insane and have this not be revealed till the end. The whole time just have a bunch of people dying by a ghost face and everyone's like so confused. They're like, why is so many people getting killed so frequently by Ghostface? And they're like in a million different places at once, and then we find out by the end of the film it's a whole cult of them led by one character in the film. I think that would be fucking awesome. Like you could have like 10 or 20 of them or something. I'm just throwing out ideas. That'd be a really cool reveal. And New York City's layout really lends itself to having really interesting chase sequences, which chase sequences are very common in the Scream franchise. So you can do all sorts of things where people are running, through alleyways and through buildings and everything like that. So a lot of stuff they can do in this film that I think could be really, really exciting. It releases in March of this year, so a lot of movies seem to be coming out in March, it seems. So I'm very excited for this. In the number 6 spot is going to be John Wick Chapter 4, which also releases in March. Again, there's a lot of movies in March. This is, of course, just following the prior John Wick films, and I love all 3 of those. It is, without a doubt, one of my favorite movie franchises of all time. Every single film so far, I think, is a 5 out of 5, and they are really trying to just expand this franchise as much as they can, not only with more films, but also with spin-offs. They have a spin-off in 2024 releasing called Ballerina, which will be starring Ana de Armas. So very excited to see how they're able to do that with all the different world building that they've already established in the last couple John Wick films. But this one, the premise of it reads that John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. So pretty simple premise. A lot of great actors are in this as well. You got Bill Skarsgård, Donnie Yen, and of course Lawrence Fishburne returning, and Keanu Reeves. He's just such a great action star. He has so many amazing action films out there. The John Wick ones, I think, are without a doubt his best, though, just because the choreography is just out of this world. And the story is really good. They do have a good story here. A lot of people say that John Wick is all action, no story. I don't really agree with that. I think there are some interesting stories to be told within this franchise. Is some of it probably going to get a bit over the top? Yeah, the first one was way more grounded than the last 2 have been, but they've still been really great. I don't think it all has to be 1000% grounded for it to still be really exciting and really good. In number 5 spot, I have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So this one I got way more excited for when I saw the first trailer. Beforehand, I was still looking forward to it, but it probably wouldn't be top 5. But once I saw that trailer, I was like, okay, yeah, they are doing something special with this movie. So the premise of it reads that Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hope's parents, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, and Lang's daughter Cassie, go on a new adventure exploring the quantum realm that pushes their limits and pits them against Kang the Conqueror. So obviously seeing Kang the Conqueror for the first time in his full form, obviously we saw a version of him in Loki, but that was a bit different. We're actually going to be seeing Kang the Conqueror in this one, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see him be the main villain of a Ant-Man film. Finally making an Ant-Man film feel very consequential to the MCU. It releases in February, so it's coming out very soon, and literally all I need to know was it's an Ant-Man film with Kang the Conqueror, and it's got amazing visuals like we saw in the trailer. So this is going to be probably one of the better MCU films. I really hope it stands up to the excitement that I have for it. Now, these next 2 films I want to talk about, I think I'm definitely on an island when it comes to my excitement for these films. I don't think people are going to be nearly as excited as I am for these 2 films, but I don't really care. I don't really care. So in the 4th place, I have The Flash, which is releasing in June of this year, or at least it's currently supposed to release in June. I believe the trailer is supposed to come out during the Super Bowl, so that's going to be very exciting. I've been excited for this movie ever since it was announced, and look, with this whole Ezra Miller situation, that hasn't really changed my excitement for it. I'm able to separate art from the artist. I can do that. I can look at the person and just be like, yeah, they're terrible, right? But that doesn't mean I'm not going to look forward to the movie. There could still be a great movie there that's very entertaining, that's very well acted and directed. I don't think it's fair to just completely boycott a movie because of one person, because there's tons of people who worked on this film. There are so many people, so many talented writers, directors, other actors and actresses, and just everyone. They deserve to have credit. I can't just throw the whole film away because of one person. That just does not make any sense to me. I have not changed my excitement for this regardless of the situation. The first trailer we got, which we got a long time ago, it was over a year now, it looked great. Everything about it looked great. The test screenings apparently have been very positive for this. Everyone has been saying nothing but good things. So I have no reason to not be excited for this. I really don't. I want to see a Flash film, and we're finally getting one. It's going to have Michael Keaton as Batman. I'm sure there's been plenty of reshoots. They probably reshot the whole thing a million times. But like I said, test screeners are still saying it's really good. So I'm just so excited to see what this is actually going to look like. And I also don't care that it's not going to continue. I don't care. Like, I don't care that the DCU is pretty much rebooting. Whether it's a soft reboot or hard reboot, we're not going to see Ezra Miller as Flash again. We're not going to see the story probably continued whatsoever. But I don't care. I don't go to movies to see the movies that come after it. I go to movies to see that specific movie. So whether or not it's going to have sequels, whether or not it's going to have any importance to the new DC universe, I don't give a shit. I just want to watch it because it looks like a good film. That's all I care about. I see so many people on Twitter saying, what's the point of all these other DCEU movies coming out this year because they don't mean anything anymore? What do you mean, what's the point? The point is to see the movie. That's what every movie's purpose is, to see the movie. If a movie is not there for the purpose of just telling a story and it's only there to build up future movies, then there's a problem. There's been plenty of movies that have done that. I mean, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is a movie I love, mind you. But yeah, that movie spends a lot of it building up future films. And that was, everyone pointed out the fact that that was a problem with that movie. The fact that it spent so much time just setting up for future films, rather than just telling a story in its film itself. We don't need movies to just set up for future stuff. We can have a movie that's just good on its own. And continuing on with this discussion, in the number 3 spot is going to be Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Same thing as The Flash. I don't care that it's not continuing. I don't care that he's probably going to be recasted. I don't think Jason Momoa is coming back as Aquaman. He's probably going to come back as Lobo, but not Aquaman. But whatever. I don't care. I don't care if we're not going to see the story continue. I just want to see what they do with this specific movie. That's all I give a shit about. I don't need to see how it's gonna, play into the universe. I don't care. I just want to watch a James Wan Aquaman film. I'm a big fan of the first Aquaman, probably one of the only people on earth who just loves that movie to death. I would say it's within my top 20 favorite comic book movies ever. James Wan is just such a great director. I think that's what makes it so special to me, because he's able to just make action sequences so engaging and so much fun. And the first film does all of that. Like, the action is just out of this world, and I'm fully expecting this film to do the same thing because, of course, James Wan's been working really hard on it. It's been delayed quite a bit. It was supposed to come out this past month, actually, and it was delayed a whole year. So they're definitely working a bunch on it, and I trust James Wan. I think he is one of the best directors working today. We don't really know much about what the story is going to be in this film. I have heard it mainly being centered around Aquaman and the Ocean Master as the main 2 characters in the film. I don't think Amber Heard is going to have a big focus in it, so anybody who wants to boycott it because of her, there you go. I believe they already said, at least leaks and rumors have said, she's not really going to be in much of it anyways. But same thing goes for what I was talking about with Ezra Miller. Just because of one person, I don't think it's fair to boycott the whole film. Tons of other people worked on it. I'm sure every single thing you've ever purchased in your entire life is benefiting at least one person you don't like. So if you're really going to boycott the whole movie because of one actor or actress, you have to boycott pretty much everything in existence, because trust me, there's going to be at least one person benefiting that you don't like, whether you know it or not, from anything you purchase. Now, the top 2 were really hard to pick which one I was more excited for. I think it's almost equal, but I decided to go with the number 2 spot being Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which releases in June. There's a ton of great movies coming out in June. March and June seem to be the most popular months for movies, at least within the next couple months. So Indiana Jones is something I have loved since I was a baby. Like, as long as I remember, I loved Indiana Jones. I used to play the Lego games. I used to play with the physical Legos. I used to watch the movies on repeat. And so when I heard the 5th one being announced, I was really excited. I don't care that Harrison Ford is, like 80 now or something. So I don't really care that he's probably not going to be able to do as many stunts as he was able to do in the past. They're still going to be able to tell an interesting story that I'm looking forward to. And I wanted to be a film that's passing the torch to someone else. And that's exactly what they're going to be doing with his goddaughter, Helena Jones. So Helena Jones, don't really know much about the character in terms of what we're going to actually get from her in this film. All I know is it's probably going to be passing the torch down to her, which I'm completely fine with. I would have preferred to see Short Round return, and especially because the actor who plays Short Round, he's now returning in Hollywood and actually doing films like Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I would love to see them bring him back maybe in the 6th film. I doubt he's going to be in this one, but I don't know. I would have loved to have seen the torch passed it to Short Round instead. But goddaughter makes more sense. to be completely honest. So the premise of this film reads that in 1969, American archaeologist and adventurer Indiana Jones lives against the backdrop of the space race. Jones is uneasy over the fact that the US government has recruited former Nazis to help beat the Soviet Union in competition to make it to space. His goddaughter Helena accompanies him in his journey. Meanwhile, Joran Voller, a NASA member and ex-Nazi involved with the moon landing program, wishes to make the world into a better place as he sees fit. So typical, you know, Indiana Jones type plot where it's just, it has real world events involved in it, but also some stuff that's a bit, you know, out there and not real world at all, which is what they do best in. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm sure it could be a really solid film, especially with all that amazing de-aging technology that they showed off in the trailer. Like, that stuff looks really great. So really looking forward to seeing those flashback sequences as well. And I do wonder if this is going to kickstart future films that might not have Harrison Ford at all and might just be with Helena. Not sure if they would go in that direction. Like I said, I would be fine with that as long as they bring back Short Round. And in the number 1 spot is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which releases in May. So this is one I was really looking forward to, but once we saw the trailer, automatically became my most anticipated movie of the year. I already love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They're some of my favorite comic book movies ever, both of them. And I watched the holiday special recently, and it was okay. It was nothing that special, but I just really can't wait to see what they do with this third film. James Gunn is very talented. He's a really solid director, and I do think he does really great with these really comedic but still heartfelt films. And I know this one is going to be absolutely heartbreaking because he's been teasing it quite a bit that someone is going to die. Maybe even multiple people will die. It should be the last Guardians film, I believe. I don't think that means they're never going to return again. I just think it means we're not going to see them on their own again. They might be showing up in like Secret Wars or something next, but when it comes to solo Guardians films, I think this is going to be the last one, and it's gonna have some heartbreaking stuff, whether it's Drax dying or Rocket dying or Peter or someone. It's going to be heartbreaking because this group of characters are some of the best characters in the entire MCU. So the premise of this film reads that after purchasing knowledge nowhere from the Collector, the Guardians of the Galaxy attempt to make it a safe haven for alien refugees, but after a brutal attack, Peter Quill must lead the Guardians on one last dangerous mission to protect one of their members that could lead to the team dissolving. So obviously this is going to involve plenty of new characters such as Adam Warlock, whom we saw in the trailer, and I don't know exactly what direction they're going to go with that, but it has potential to be really, really, really incredible. So that's gonna do it for my list. Those are my 10 most anticipated movies of 2023. Let me know what movies you guys are most excited to see. There are way more movies I am excited for this next year. I just didn't want to include like 30 plus films with the honorable mentions, so I only included a couple honorable mentions. But if you want to see my full list, I have like 30 plus films that I have ranked on my Letterboxd, so check that out on my Letterboxd. Tons of lists there. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. I will see you all in my next one. Peace out.